Hello, students. This is Anand Shivatsa on another video related to Java applet. Um, Today, I would like to talk about applets, Java applets. How do they work? What are the main ingredients of applet? What are the main functions? What does applet mean? How does it work? What are the things that need to be understood, and how do we constitute an applet and how do we run it? So all these things I'm going to discuss about it today. Okay. um, what is an applet? Java programs are available in two flavors, applet and application. Applications we have kind of seen it like through Java programming and C, C++, Java. These are all small applications that we can run. It's similar to kind of a big application where you have certain things, functionalities, business functionalities to work out with. Those are all applications, and the applet is also can be embedded. It's an application, kind of a web document which can be embedded in a HTML document, and it can be run in a browser. But in nowadays, browsers are not being used to run applets because there are a lot of security issues that have been identified when running an applet. So not a lot of security related programs have been overcome. They have not been developed much because security is really a problem in applets. But there is a way to run applets using applet viewer. When you create an applet, you can run them and see how it actually works. So these are few things that we would go through and understand how it actually works. Well, applet window is a window based program. Okay, an applet is a Windows, like how C++ has some Windows based application, like we went with. You must have seen C Sharp or Microsoft Windows C++ applications. Those are all Windows based applications. That means there is a server and you have some Windows, and there is some kind of data that's being called, and it interacts with them, that the data shows up in front of the in the application, and all these window based applications needs to be installed in the computer where it is supposed to be running. So there is some kind of a window, there is some kind of a text box, there is some kind of a button, and only when you actually move the mouse or some kind of event has to happen from the user's side, then it is called as Windows based application. Okay. And there are the regular Java application is something when a particular information is given to it, based on that information it does something. That is a Java application, an application which executes outside of that. But in Windows based is a trigger has to happen, some kind of event has to happen. So that means you are either clicking a button or you have entered something, but a button has to be clicked, or you moved around above a particular window, some kind of information shows up. Somehow hovering the mouse over a particular space, something happens. So that means there is some kind of event that drives the application to do something. So an event execution implies the start of a thread. Something happens. So it starts something and it needs to be understood. Users should initiate the interaction with an applet. It is unlikely a non-windowed program where program prompts for an input, okay, for an input, and then it reads and execute either in single or multi-thread. It depends upon how it actually works around. Okay. Now applet events. So this is calculator can be thought of as a Windows based or a Java based windowed application. Okay, Java window application. That means these are all buttons. So this is a button. Okay, this is a button. 7 is a button. Okay, 8 is a button. Also, all these are buttons where you, for example, I want to add 4 plus 5, then you will press 4, then you'll press this, then you'll press 5, and then you'll press this. Okay, is equal to, then you'll get an answer. So these are all something which actually happens one after the other. So that means when you type something over here, it shows up over here, right? When you click on a button, it shows up here. Okay, here in the text box, where in actually prompts over here, and where the numbers actually moves to the left of that as you add more numbers. So that's how it actually works. So an event actually occurs. That means the event is that the button is clicked, that is an event. Something, when you click, it should show up here, that is an event. What it's the based on this event, what it's supposed to do over here, over the equal to, or anything that has to happen will show up over here. So this is one way to look at it. How an applet looks like. Now the real applets, there are, you can create a scientific calculator similar to that, but to make you understand how it actually supposed to work, thus I'm giving you a gist of the applet program. Okay, first of all, you need to import these two packages, java.applet.applet, or you can type star. Okay, the star over here, that means applet.star and awt.star asterisk. Okay, you can do that something like this, or you can specifically import the packages that you are going to work on. See this, these two are the first two lines that needs to be there. Without these two, it won't even compile, because it needs these two extra packages from these two classes, or two packages from this applet package, so that it can be extended. So I'm created an app demo extends applet. Now here there are, this I'm directly calling, there are two things that actually is there, init and start, which I'll explain it in the next coming slides. So directly I'm called, like, this is public void paint, which actually takes the graphics as a variable, as one of the inputs, and based on that graphics it draws a string. Okay, it draws something on the, it has to draw, this is like a canvas. Okay, this is like a canvas on which I'm supposed to draw something. So it draws this word Mysore at a particular position. What is the particular position? 76x, 76 on the x-axis, 12 on the y-axis. That means this is 76, this is the position where it starts at 76, from top it is 12. So at this point somewhere it is actually typing the word called Mysore. Now if you look at 150 by 150, this whole thing itself is something must be around 300 by 300. So look at it, it exactly started somewhere around halfway through, halfway here and halfway here and halfway. That means at 150 by 150, at this particular point is 150 by 150. Okay, there I'm drawing this, there I'm actually putting this string called welcome Java. So these two, you understand how you need to mention the string, and you need to mention the two coordinates at which this is supposed to be drawn. So here there is no public, main, static, all those things that you had in earlier thing. Okay, there is nothing like that. The main 5 methods are being used, or will be used over here in applet, that I'll explain in the next slide. So the app demo extends the applet, which here I'm not showing the init and start, but let's understand that it automatically calls those things. Once it calls the init and it starts, and this in the start it actually paints. What is a paint here? See, everything, as I said, is a canvas. Now if you bring another window on top of this, if you don't do a paint, this will be lost. The paint is a very needed, a very necessary method. If you don't have this paint, what happens is, let's say you minimize this particular window and brought it back, it has to redraw whatever was there, it has to redraw, right? It has to show them back. Let's say you minimized it and you bring it back and you didn't use this paint, what happens is, or repaint, this will show a blank window. So the canvas has lost its painted information when you minimize, or you put another window on top of it, or you moved here and there, and it would lose its information that was already there. So this is a necessary function. Now if you look at it, once you have created an applet viewer runs using the .html file. The .html file need not be of the same class or same name of the class of the demo of the applet class. Okay, but I have used it something similar, but don't worry about it. That it could have been I have created an applet demo.html file, and the code also was the code above was applet demo, right? Applet app demo extends applet. So that means the file name is appdemo.java. That is to be done. But for applet.html, it need not be the same. The thing that needs to be very much the same as the applet is this particular class. Okay, this particular thing has to be the same. That's what you are trying to tell. And here you are telling the width and the height of the applet it's supposed to. If I mentioned 150 by 150, then one of them would not even be able to write, because you mentioned an applet with a particular drawstring which is outside of its premise. Okay, so the applet that is being drawn over here is very much you need to mention the height and width. So you can try it out using this width is equal to 300 400 by 500 or 500 by 500 and see how the drawstring works. Okay, so this is how the HTML file is supposed to be written. And once you write this title applet demo, body has the applet, code is equal to appdemo.class, code base is where is the code base? You need to mention where the code base is, right? So it is in the current directory where you are running the particular this .html file, and width is equal to 300 and height is equal to 300. If you mention this whole thing, automatically it will understand. So this code base is another important keyword that you should not forget. Mention this code base. If you don't mention this, it doesn't know where to look out for this. So it is better you tell where this code base is. That means this dot class, where exactly you will find this dot class file, then it will be able to run it. Okay, now let's see a demo of it. Okay, let's see a mid demo where I have the same thing. Okay, let me see app demo dot java. Okay, is it there? It is there. So let's do a cat more on app demo dot java file. Okay, so you see this, I have the same app demo extends applet, and it is done, and I have compiled it java c app demo dot java. Okay, I have got the Java program done, and I have got the .java class. Now let's look at the app demo .html file. So this is where exactly what I have shown you in that particular thing. Here also it shows app demo.class, code base is dot, width is equal to that. Now how do I run this? A lot of people at times they will not be able to understand how to run this. So the executable file that you need to run is applet viewer and app demo dot html file. Okay, so you need to run this. So you immediately will see this particular demo. It should show these things. Okay, app started. If applet not started, then you will not be able to see this particular the information that I have actually put over here at those two strings, g.drawstring welcome java and Mysore. So these two things will not show up if applet did not get started properly. Okay, so you saw this. Okay, now you can just close this and it's done. So now you understood how to run this, right? So this is the basic of it. Okay, if you understood this, the rest of the thing is how to put information, what kind of buttons, text fields, all those things can be learned one by one. So let's do one by one. So this is saving this as an HTML file. No need to have the same name. Now the applet is ready for its execution. I've shown that how it runs. So running an applet, so a .html can be run with a browser such as any of the any of the browsers, but nowadays it won't run. So applet viewer is your savior for it to run. Okay. Now let's understand the structure of an applet. So here is the import section, which I already showed you. Import the packages that are necessary for extending an applet, and also graphics. That these two are very important. Rest of them are all, you bring up different flavors of the applets, like text button, view, radio button. All these things are all the different parts of applets, so those can be imported one after the other. So but the main skeleton of the applet program is that you need to have an import section, and the rest is you need to have a class extending from applet, and the paint takes the variable graphics. Only then the rest of the things can be done. Okay, now let's understand applet. Intro to applet. Applet class is contained in the java.applet package. Java.applet defines three interfaces: applet context, audio clip, applet stub. Two types of applets, two varieties of applets based on applet. First is based on applet class. Okay, these applets use the AWT kit. Okay, AWT is the called as abstract window toolkit. Okay, this is very important for applet. The second one is the swing based, where every other class that you would have used in applet, it has a prefix J in front of it. Okay, J swing class J applet, swing class J text, swing class J button. So all these things are related to swing class. We will learn it later, but let's understand the applet part. Swings applets use swing classes to provide the GUI. Both AWT and swing based applets are valid. Applet basics. Again, execution of applet does not begin at main. Execution of applet is started and controlled by different mechanism. Let's output to the window is through drawstring instead of system.out.println. Okay, there are two basic ways to launch an applet. The second approach is through HTML, the best and original way how applets are being run early, but nowadays we don't run that, so let's not talk about it. Applet provides all necessary support for applet execution. Applet extends the AWT class. Okay, AWT class panel, intern panel. So applet extends from panel, panel extends from container, container extends from component. Okay, this is the way. So applet is extended from panel, panel from container, container from component. So four methods are used to start an applet. You have the init, start, to start, stop and destroy, are to stop it and destroy the applet. That means once at times you will have to stop the applet, not destroy completely. There are, see, init is the one thing that you need to understand. Init starts the applet. Init is the initialization of certain variables. Another, it starts the applet. The paint actually does the repainting and painting of it. These two are used in a way where stop, let's say you minimized an applet, you need to stop it for some time, right? It has to park its whatever it is doing, so stop. But to destroy completely, once you stop it, then destroy it. But stop, let's say you want to bring it back, the applet which has minimized, you need to bring it back, then you need to start again, you need to restart the paint again. So these two things are will complement each other. Stop and start or complement, but these two are to destroy the applet completely. So let's look at the skeleton of the application, applet application. An applet skeleton, as I told, import and then import java.awt.star, import java.awt.star asterisk. So this is just a skeleton as to how your HTML is supposed to be using an applet code. That's all it says. That's the reason it is commented out. Now the public class applet skeleton here, since it is a PowerPoint, here the first letter is always a capital is shows as a capital, but in reality it is small p. Okay, it is small p. um, so called first public void init, public void init initialization, called after init, also called whenever the applet is restarted, public void start or resume execution. So another for two other functions, which is stop and destroy, called applet when applet is terminated. This is the last method executed. Public void destroy performs shutdown activities. Called when applet's window must be restored. Okay, so these two things are very much a needed thing. Okay, and we need to see that they are executed and they run fine. Okay, so called when the applet is stopped, public void stop. Called when an applet is terminated. So public void destroy performs shutdown activities. Public void stop suspends execution. It does not say that it will completely destroy the applet, but it suspends the execution. The paint is something which is called when an applet's window must be restored, or it has to be shown again when some other window comes in front of this particular applet, and when you again remove it, it will not be able to redraw unless you call this paint thing again. Okay, so this is very important. Applet initialization and termination. So when an applet begins, the following methods are called in the sequence: init, start, and paint. And when it is being terminated, it first stops, then destroys. It does not destroys and then stop. So it won't. If you don't stop it, then it will not be a good sequence to kill something. Okay, stop it, then destroy the applet application. So starting an applet methods, init, this is where you should initialize variables. This method is called only once during the runtime of your applet. So as I told, init is something where you have, let's say you are instantiating another. For example, if you wrote a calculator applet, okay. First of all, let's say you have written another class separately to do additions and subtractions of the information of the two numbers. Okay, and it is in some other class. So instantiate that new class over there. Have those two numbers, have those all the text area, text box, buttons, all these things should start over the init area. Okay, once it initiates once, right? So the applet gets initiated. Then start. This method is called after init. It is also called to restart an applet after it has been stopped. Init is called only once when an applet is loaded but start. So you should not have such initialization of variables in the start. Why? Because you don't want multiple initialization of things. Why? Because whatever you would have done earlier, if you want to show those same values over there, so start should not have it. Init should have it. Start should only initiate the application back. Init is called only once when an applet is loaded, but start is called each time an applet's HTML document is displayed on the screen. So if your user leaves a web page and comes back, the applet resumes execution at start. So this is the reason why we don't want this initialization of variables in start. So it needs to be bifurcated. That's the reason init and start are necessary here. Paint. When do we call paint? Called each time an AWT based applet's outcome must be redrawn. Overwritten by another window, so needs to redraw. Minimized and restored, needs to paint. Paint has one parameter of type graphics. So it takes a one parameter called graphics. That graphics is rewritten every time. So that G graphics class has to be rewritten, has to be called every time an applet is running. This context is used whenever output to the applet is required. Terminate applet methods: stop, destroy. This method, stop method, is called when a web browser leaves the HTML document containing the applet. When stop is called, the applet is probably running. You should use stop to suspend threads, and that don't need to run when the applet is not visible. Yes, you don't want something to be run again when something is not in the visible. So if your thread is running or something behind the service is running, you can get to a halt such that it is not in priority. So you can restart them when start is called if the user returns to the page. So destroy, when do you destroy? This method is called when the environment determines that your applet needs to be removed completely from memory. You should free up all the resources the applet may be using. Then the stop is always called before destroy. So you should stop then destroy it. Okay, that's how it's supposed to be done. Overriding an update. An AWT method may need to override another method using update. This method is called when an applet. So overriding an update, basically what it means is you need to just if you have more than the paint can do, if you want to update more than the paint wants to do, then you override the update method such that it can do apart from what it's supposed to do in the paint. You can call the update method. Then in the repainting there are 4 different ways to call it. Okay, and it is basically this repainting method is such that it actually will be able to repaint that particular applet, that it works as a canvas, as I said. So it will do its job of actually running it to repaint it properly. Okay, repaint the entire window to repaint, or only a portion of the paint. For example, you want to just paint from, let's say you want to paint only this particular portion. Okay, repaint it, the rest of them looks fine, only this needs to repaint. So then you use this particular method. Then if you want to repaint every 5 seconds, then put this max delay such that it repaints every 5 seconds, or maybe 10 seconds something has happened and repaints it. So the thing is, and if you just want to repaint after every 5 seconds but a portion of it, again the same thing, you call this a portion of it, you can do that also. So, and in the applet tag there are certain things that are used properly. Okay, and the rest of them are there for you to use. For example, you want to give an alternate text, you want to name the instance name, you need to give the width and height of it, where is it supposed to align, left, top, right, or center, or to the right, vertical pixels how much, horizontal pixels how much, at what point it's supposed to start appearing, the applet supposed to start. Okay, and this parameter name and value is something which the applet can be given as attributes for it to run with. So that is something which I'll show it as a demo in some other stage. Okay, so HTML displayed in the absence of Java applet, so this can be done. So this particular so this applet tags are used, as I told you in one of the example previous to this I was showing. So what did I use? The applet, the code base, the width and height, and the next is the applet tag. So this is what I used in the previous as an example, but I'll certainly show you some more example related to applets and how GUI is developed, what are the different things, panels, what are the different alignment based, how it's supposed to be, all those things I'll teach in the next video. I think this is a good introduction to what is applet. Please take a look at it. I hope you'll enjoy the video about it.